When I entered the first day of Communications 121, I was scared. The second day, I was scared. For all my speeches, I was scared. Public speaking is scary, and very few people enjoy presenting to a large group. Steve Beebe, the author of our textbook, says, "It is unrealistic to try to eliminate speech anxiety. Instead, your goal should be to manage your nervousness so that it does not create so much internal noise that it keeps you from speaking effectively." I was nervous for every speech I gave, terribly nervous. My stomach would be in a knot from the moment I finished my class before comm at 11 a.m. until I gave my speech sometime around 1 p.m. I didn't feel noticeably less nervous until the final speech. When I walked up to the podium, I made up my mind to focus on the presentation and not on how I felt. I made the decision to give the best speech I could. Beebe says, "The more you think about being nervous about speaking, the more you will increase your level of anxiety." I don't have substantial evidence that this persuasive speech was better than my other speeches, but according to a friend in the class, she thought it was much better. My second big public speaking struggle coming into this class was talking monotonously. It was something I struggled with well into this class. I didn't improve this much until the persuasive speech. I was marked off on almost all my speeches except the me bag. According to Beebe, you should speak to be understood and speak with vocal variety to maintain interest. I'm fairly confident that people could understand me, but it was most likely difficult to keep focus on me. My informative speech was the most monotone. It was also the speech I relied most on my notes, as I had a fair amount of statistics and direct quotes I had to say word for word. I got lost in my notes during this speech and relied very heavily on them. This decreased my ability to make eye contact and engage the audience. I have not had an excessive speaking opportunities before this class. I've had the occasional class presentation, but this class was my first dedicated speaking class. As I progress through school, I will need to present more. If I am able to make it into medical school, I will need to speak efficiently and clearly to patients and other healthcare providers. As a physician, in most situations, I would be the leader of the healthcare team. Different age groups tend to enjoy different types of comedy. College kids, for instance, enjoy hearing jokes about being broke. Hearing our situation made fun of provides some sense of comfort that distracts from the inability to afford things outside the absolute needs. Serving as a restaurant with an older clientele has shaped my default sense of humor slightly. Beebe claims that information about the age of audience members can suggest the kinds of examples, humor, illustrations, and other types of supporting material to use in your speech. When writing jokes in my first couple speeches, I forgot to keep my younger audience in mind. For my persuasive speech, I calculated how much money drinking pop could cost in a year, 4 years, and what the money would make in a mutual fund. In a time when many of us have very little money, every dollar counts. Every speech I've given to this date, I have been in a class with people in my same situation. I was a high schooler giving speeches to other high schoolers. In this class, I was in college with other college students. I've yet to have an opportunity to speak to groups drastically different from mine. Healthcare is made up of many different job backgrounds, nationalities, and ages, so I'll have a lifetime of adjusting to my audience ahead of me. I listened to at least 100 speeches in this comm 121 class. There were countless opportunities to practice attentive listening. Some days I was more attentive than others. On days I spoke, I struggled listening to speeches actively until I gave mine and calmed my nerves. I listened very closely to the me bag speeches because, in my mind, it was a very effective way to learn about my classmates. When listening, I learned to pick out main points to remember. A lot of my classmates did a great job of stretching which parts of their speeches were most important, so retaining those parts wasn't hard. Beebe says, being a selfish listener can help you to maintain your power of concentration. I will use my listening skills that I learned in comm 121 in the classroom listening to lectures. I have 3.5 more years of school for undergrad and possibly 4 more after that. I will need to be able to understand and remember a lot of information. My informative elevator pitch and persuasive essay all required some research. My informative essay was about the effects of exercise on depression. This is a very science-based topic, so it required a lot of evidence and research through peer-reviewed journals. My elevator pitch needed a light amount of research for real estate terminology. I also needed research to back up my claims on the healthy benefits of water. All my speeches contained support. The MEBAG speech required only personal experience, but other speeches required credible scientific research. Through writing, giving, and listening to speeches, I've become a better communicator. I've become a more efficient student.